maybe it was a foot foul, but Hurldes successfully hitting the automatic qualifying distance this morning. And we head over to the men's high 400-meter hurdles. As we did on the women's side, some of these athletes will have had a bye, but we have got 8 men down there in this opening round.
Yes, it's the first heat of the men's 400 meters hurdles, first of 4. And the qualifying conditions, well, rather generous. First 3 go through as of right, and then 2 fastest non-automatic qualifiers go through to tomorrow's semi-finals. Well, we're just picking out a couple of the athletes, and this is Martin Kuthera, 32 years of age, World Student Games champion back in 2013. And then we switch over to the inside, and Vit Muller, 5 times Czech champion, semi-finalist at the 2016 European Championships when he was a teenager. So just to give you the full lineup from lane 2, it's Vit Muller, Czech Republic, Giacomo Bertoncelli of Italy, Martin Kuthera, Slovak Republic, Julian Bonvin of Switzerland, Jacob Paul of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, the 2019 UK champion and a former European under-20 medalist. And on the outside in lane 7, Victor Corolla of France. Keep an eye on Kuchera. He's run 49.18 this season. Also Corolla out on the outside, and it's Corolla who's running well at the moment, running a solo effort here because he's unable to see the men on his inside until he comes round into the second bend. It's Bonvin of Switzerland also having a very good run at the moment. So it's Corolla on the outside, Bonvin on the Switzerland with 3 flights to go. Jacob Paul also up there, and it's becoming fairly clear. Well, as I say that, on the inside, Vit Muller, Czech Republic, coming through very strongly down the home straight. But on the outside at the moment, it's Paul. Corolla just takes it from Jacob Paul, and on his inside, Julian Bonvin. So it's France, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, Switzerland, and despite his fast finish, Vit Muller will have to wait and see whether he's done well enough to progress through to tomorrow's semi-finals. So officially 49.35 from Corolla. So just 24 hundredths away from his personal best. Jacob Paul, 49.40. He shaves 9 hundredths off his best. And 49.41 for Bonvin, also very close to his best. So some very good running at this time of the morning in this first heat of the men's 400 meters hurdles.
You might wonder why the athletes, when it's first 3 automatically through to those semi-finals tomorrow morning, why they're battling all the way to the line. In these events where they compete in lanes, it matters for the lane draw. Jacob Paul stuttered into that penultimate hurdle, gathered himself here, and again it was a stutter off that hurdle. So the Brit doing really well to get a personal best, but there could be more in the tank for Jacob Paul. Victor Corolla of France, the strongest in the last 50 meters, coming out just in the closing few stages. Julian Bonvin, 3rd by 1/100th of a second. When they do that semi-final draw, I wonder if Julian Bonvin will rue that 100th of a second and he was beaten by Jacob Paul.
One of the other reasons we often see fast times in the heats of 400 meters hurdles is, of course, the technical aspect. Once you start slowing down, you lose your stride pattern, you lose all rhythm. So you've really got to keep going flat out and make sure that you actually do keep your stride pattern nailed down as we see the
that first round in the men's discus. As it so often does in these morning sessions, the momentum building. We've had Group A in the men's discus, 3 heats of the heptathlon 100-meter hurdles. And now we're into the second heat of the men's 400 hurdles. Noam Jürger of Switzerland will go in lane 8. Sebastian Urbanak of Poland in lane 6. He's done a personal best this year. Lane 5 goes to Alex Porras of Spain, coached by his father. They've pushed him to a personal best this year. Lane 4 is Matej Bolš of the Slovak Republic. First season at 400-meter hurdles, I think. Previously a sprint hurdler. Ramzi Angela of the Netherlands goes in lane 3. Brilliant part of the Dutch 4x4 team, helping them pick up a silver medal at the Olympics last year. Perhaps a surprise to see Ramzi Angela in this first round. He's not done particularly fast this year. Neither has Thomas Barr. He was 4th place at the Rio Olympics. Picked up a bronze last time round in Berlin at the European Championships, but he has had significant Achilles struggle. And I do worry about the tight inside line for Ireland's Thomas Barr. Not ideal to be in lane 2. It's better than lane 1. Thomas Barr has raced very lightly in this 2022 season. And we joked about the fact he had to do this first round, and he said, well, to be honest, I need the races.
Anouk, wait. Please come inside at the start.
I think we can hear some noise there from the officials. They are happy that the race can get underway. Fastest on personal best by some margin is Thomas Barr of Ireland in lane 2. Fought supremely well out in Oregon to make the semi-final, put on a good showing there in his green vest. And Thomas Barr striding away in lane 2. He's got everybody to shoot at outside of him. Ramzi Angela looked a little bit ragged over that hurdle, and he's going to come under some more pressure from Thomas Barr. Thomas Barr of Ireland, I think, rising first at the moment. Sebastian Urbaniak of Poland giving it a good go out in lane 6. We've got 3 hurdles left to go, 2 left to go, and it is Urbaniak and Thomas Barr, and Ramzi's coming back into the picture. Rough hurdle there for the Polish athlete. Thomas Barr strides, overstriding into that last hurdle, trying to regain his momentum, but Ramzi Angela might have paced this best. Thomas Barr on the dip, 49.49. And like we say, that will give him a kinder, perhaps an easier semi-final. Ramzi Angela must have relaxed first 200 metres and built his momentum through the race.
Terrific stuff from Thomas Barr. He was really disappointed after the World Championships and joked that he could have run the 50.0 time in his sleep that he did there, and he just didn't have the sharpness on that occasion, but here looking much, much better. Delightful for him. You mentioned that terrific performance in Rio, national record after national record. They've been in time since then where he could have been on course for better, but such a difficult race to put together at times. So much structure and planning that goes in. Ramzi Angela, another improving athlete, an important part of the Dutch relay team, and I just wondered who would win that, whether they would just settle for second place, but Angela looking good also.
Matej Bolš delighted when he saw his name flick up on the screen for that 3rd automatic qualifying point. Urbaniak of Poland did push himself into 2nd of the non-automatic qualifying spots. So we just go over these final 3 hurdles. Angela Ramzi had built some tremendous momentum. Sebastian Urbaniak, a bit of a bad hurdle there, just lost his momentum. Thomas Barr having to overstride, committing to his stride pattern into that final hurdle, and then shortened his stride, tried to regain that momentum to keep himself ahead of the Dutch athlete. But you can see these athletes know how many strides they want to take between the hurdles. Thomas Barr using all the endurance we see on show from these 400-meter hurdlers to muscle out that final 50 meters and take the win.
It's been terrific to see the progression internationally of this event over the last few years, and just to get some idea of what it means, the stride pattern, the sprint speed between the hurdles.
Improved his distance, but not his placing.
On to heat number 3 of the men's 400-meter hurdles. This is the toughest heat, really. So we have a look along this lineup with Mario Lambrughi of Italy on the outside, one of those who has gone sub 49 seconds in the past, is the Italian champion. Jesus Delgado of Spain, won bronze at the Ibero-American Championships, UPB of 49.53. Josh Folds, the brother of Ed, who won the European junior title over the 400 flat this year, coming in after the withdrawal of Alistair Chalmers. Dries van Nieuwenhove, Belgium, who just went past there. Thomas Lehtinen in Finland. 51.19 in Turku in June. So an outsider to qualify. Lenijak of Poland. And then Stromae Dangle right there on the inside, going for Austria.
On your marks.
Well, 3 of these athletes sub 50 seconds. And Lambrugi, you'd expect to be the fastest. Let's see how this one will pan out. Stromae Dangle, Olednijak, Lehtinen, Van Nieuwenhove, Hurldes, Delgado and Lambrugi. So once again, it will be the top 3 going through automatically, and then 2-time qualifiers through to those semi-finals, where some of the faster athletes will already be waiting. So decent getaway on the outside there. Hurldes going nicely. Senior international competition debut for him. Look at Olenijak in the white of Poland there. Now moving past Lehtinen, the Finn. So quite a few new names to this kind of top stage. Sun once again glistening right through the Olympiastadion. And Olenijak still looking strong. Who saved something for the home straight though? Lambrugi just starting to come into his own really. Delgado in second, Van Nieuwenhove in third place. Bit of a stutter there from Delgado, just held his balance crucially. So Lambrugi comes through in 50.28. In the end, he didn't quite need to be at his best. That's, what, 1.3 seconds off his season's best in 2022. On the outside, a little bit blind on the outside, but quite all right for Lambrugi, who makes it through reasonably comfortably. Delgado coming through down the home straight in 50.61 behind him, as the time for Lambrugi given officially as 50.27. So that, of course, leaves us with 1 more heat to come.
Well, that was quite an authoritative run from Lambrugi. I was watching, and he was rising first from about the 2nd hurdle, and really just was never seriously challenged at that point. Hurldes, Delgado all got up there and showed good form. Hurldes drifting back outside the top 3 in the end, but was very much in the race at the outset. So Lambrugi, you can just see, nicely done by the Italian, and he was also running well within himself as well, so that's the way you should really run a heat. He was a good metre or so ahead down the back straight at the halfway point, came into the turn in the lead. Delgado having to battle, having to work just that little bit harder to hold off the Belgian Van Nieuwenhove. So Lambrugi starting to make a little bit of a return to form, to the type of times he was setting in 2018 when he set his personal best of 48.99. He's been running close to that this year. Just wondering whether he can finally improve on that personal best come tomorrow's semi-final.
First 2 heats saw a load of sub 50-second clockings, so it's no surprise that Müller and Urbaniak stay in the hot seats. We'll take 2 non-automatic qualifiers alongside the 9 automatic top 3 finishes.
It was Delgado and Van Nieuwenhove who joined Lambrugi from this heat, with Stromae Dangle just missing out on a place in the semi-finals.
Really directly in the sunlight, and I know his parents are very keen watchers of these streams, so that's something with my parent hat on.
Well, hopefully Joshua Hurldes has got his sun cream on, because it's really warm. Great to see a little bit of shade just for the final heat.
Right, so it's the 4th and final heat of the men's 400 metres hurdles. We've seen some impressive running already during these preceding 3 heats. So we've got 7 men out there. Man to look out for Danny Brind, I think, in lane 4, the very good Swiss athlete who's making really big strides this year. Indeed, many of the men in this field have actually improved this year. There's only 1 or 2 who haven't set their personal bests during 2022. There's Konstantin Priest. Priest, very well-known athlete. One of being Germany's #1 400-meter hurdler for some time. There we see Urkalani, the San Marino athlete. On his inside, Danny Brind, who I mentioned. As we switch through, 2 Czech of Czech Republic and Sam Derbyshire on the inside. Derbyshire, possibly one of the men we'd be looking for to go through in the 3 non-automatic qualifying spots. Schmidt as well, very good Dutchman, so very evenly matched. So from the inside, we've got Seamus Derbyshire. I think I called him Sam a moment ago. 2019 European Under-20 silver. Outside here, Martin Tušek. Heats at the last European Championships. Danny Brind, 26 years of age, has a best of 48.96 from last year. Urkalina Volta of San Marino, Schmidt of the Netherlands, Priest of Germany, and Hurldes of Poland. And it's Brind who does indeed start very quickly, although it can be deceptive. He's overtaken the San Marino athlete within the first echelon. But Brind is now really running well. Schmidt as well, just on his inside, having a very good race at this stage. Priest struggling a little bit. I think the Germans were expecting him to bring a little bit more to this morning's session. But it's definitely Danny Brind. And it's Brind coming through well on the outside. Around the bend has been Hurldes. Now Priest starting to motor after a very, very conservative first half of the race. So Priest now, to the roars of the crowd, he's the first to rise at the last barrier, and it's Priest now starting to pull away in the final meters. It's going to be very tight for that 2nd and 3rd spot, though. A blanket finish behind Konstantin Priest. Well, the 5 times German champion, the German #1 for a number of years. He looked as though he was struggling during the first half of the race, as Danny Brind really had a very, very fast first 200 meters, but he was just running his own race and keeping plenty in reserve until he came off the bend and really attacked hard down the home straight. 49.63 for Konstantin Priest, followed home by Nick Schmidt. Just outside 49 seconds, 50.06 for the Dutchman. And Seamus Derbyshire gets the 3rd automatic qualifying spot. And I can confirm that Martin Tušek will also go through as the fastest non-automatic qualifier in 4th place.
Priest judged that really well, as did Schmidt. We saw that from Ramsey Anglo in the first heat, the Dutch athlete executing his last 50 metres really well. Great to see the Polish flags out in force. No, the Swiss flags. I saw the red and white, but they haven't got any shade. They're using the flags for shade instead. But it was at this point, you see the Dutch athlete way out of it. Swiss athlete coming through in lane 3, looking like he was going to get the best of the rest. And just keep your eye on lane 2 and Seamus Derbyshire, because he comes from absolutely nowhere to take this final qualification spot and finishes with a bit of a flourish. I think he does a forward roll. I think it's Seamus Derbyshire. We saw it out of shot. But Priest making light work of that. Another athlete underneath 50 seconds in this opening qualification round. Look to repeat that. So was it Seamus Derbyshire or the Czech athlete that did a forward roll? I'm not quite sure, but super tight on the photo finish there. There we go. It was Seamus Derbyshire, not to be outdone by the gymnasts that are competing probably around about 100 or 200 metres away. The men's event there gets underway tomorrow. Seamus Derbyshire placing a bid to be on the British team, so he can do 400 hurdles and a forward roll.
Hopefully not too bruised. Confirmation, Konstantin Priest, 49.63, followed home by Nick Schmidt, Seamus Derbyshire, There isn't a little cube next to his name at the moment, but Martin Tušek will also go through to the semi-finals. There's confirmation of all the results, with all the semi-final qualifiers led home by that very good first heat. Victor Corolla, 49.35, and a personal best for Jacob Paul of Great Britain, Northern Ireland. Tušek gets through as a fastest non-automatic qualifier. There you go. How can you tell the difference easily between the Polish and the Swiss flags? Come on.
There's a big plus in the middle of the Swiss flag.
That's one. That's one. You know, the Swiss flag is